Hello everybody, this is Make It Better, and today we're doing What If Deku Was a Mutant Part 13B. I have no real excuse on why I'm late. I'll say it at the end of the video. If you guys care, you can watch it. If you don't, you can get off. So that'll be at the end. But with all of that said, let's continue, shall we? Also, this will be 18 plus, just to be sure. With all of that said, now we should continue. After Zuko, Naruto. Dang it! God damn it. Zuko, sorry. Damn it, I was watching a show. Okay, now it's in a minute. Enough of fooling around. After Zuko finally left, well, Zuko was about to leave, but with his injuries he have right now, and Muscular still there, somewhat awake. Right now he's somewhat awake. He's still moving, sort of. Even though most of his ligaments are mostly damaged with no repair. Zuko turn around, swipe his left arm. He yells out in pain, but Zuko does not care. He pinned his arms down, pulled one or two of his fingers clean off. And Muscular watch is something that he never thought anybody would have the balls to do. Zuko looked straight at him, used his fingers, and ate them both. Which Muscular just so surprised that he couldn't say anything about this. And Zuko, well, his body starts to show that it's repairing itself. As he was walking away, Muscular got swiped one more time by Zuko's tail, knocking him out for sure. After Zuko finally healed up from those injuries, decided to rush through the woods with his tails, almost like Spider-Man, basically. Just making him go faster and faster in the trees, all the way to the center point where Aizawa is. Aizawa is holding Koda. As Zuko sees him and sees he's safe, went over to one of the pussycats that their court can go to everybody. He explained what their plans and what they're trying to catch. Bakugo and Tokoyami. He did not say himself, as he was rushing off to save the others. And he heard in his mind the repeat that he said, also to be allowed to defend themselves or even attack if needed. All their blames will go on to Aizawa, which Zuko, to keep this in mind, decided to fly up into the sky and search around if anybody else needs more help. He remembers he has a thought and he wants to go to her first, but he had to protect everybody else too. And the first one he sees is Dark Shadow. So he rushed towards that area. And, well, he's diving down towards Tokoyami. And Tokoyami sees him, and Dark Shadow also sees him, and swipe his huge claw over to Zuko. Zuko was about to protect himself or even move out of the way, but he heard a yell which distracted him just a bit. And when he looked away, he was about to get attacked until Shoji came out with his extremely long arms, reaching out to Zuko and pulling him just by his foot, just enough to not get attacked by the claw. Zuko, after noticing that those people are safe, and realized who got him, decided to go down to his level. Tokoyami is fighting back and telling everybody to run away, And Shoji tells him to go away and I'll protect him. I'll make sure nobody else gets hurt. Zuko said, "Huh, like that can hurt me." Alright. Where is everybody else? I don't remember how. Yeah, I don't remember the path exactly. And Shoji just answered it without any hesitation since Zuko seemed so calm, which in turn made him calm. And Shoji basically says the pattern for the road and each group, since he, of course, one of the smart ones, can remember. Zuko said thanks. Stay back. I'll deal with Tokoyami. As Shoji actually stands back behind the tree. Of course scared, but also curious on what Zuko's gonna do. Zuko, without any care in the world, yells out for Dark Shadow and Tokoyami. He's yelling at them, is this really the way? Is this really the way you want to protect Tokoyami, Dark Shadow? Dark Shadow is just screaming, yelling, I will protect. I will protect. As Tokoyami is screaming out loud in Dark Shadow. Zuko said, alright. Tokoyami, do I have your permission to use it? To use lethal force on you? Tokoyami looks at Zuko and just keeps screaming out, run away. Zuko takes that as an answer, jumped off the ground with extreme force, making an in crater just by the force, going straight at Tokoyami, and right face to face, Zuko just slapped him. Tokoyami is immediately knocked out, and Dark Shadow is going on a rampage at this point. And Zuko, when he was basically, Dark Shadow clapped his hands in between onto Zuko. Zuko, of course, protect himself with his armor tail. And after Dark Shadow, have his hands closed, he felt some pressure separating his hands to see Zuko coming out. Zuko finally using his tails out and pulling one more tail over to Dark Shadow and just wrapping it right around his neck, tightening it to a point where Dark Shadow needs to let go, and Zuko is not holding back. He used the rest of his tails to wrap around Dark Shadow's neck, arms, and just keep them closed. And it just slowly shrinks down to a point where Dark Shadow can't take any more of this and went right back into Tokoyami. Soji asked if it was alright to come out, and Zuko said, yeah, you can take him back over to Aizawa. The others are gonna be taken there too. I'm heading out as he flies away. Zuko looks over to another area and sees a huge pink mist. There's fire everywhere, and it's just much, much worse than all the other areas. He was going to the fire, but the smoke area seemed like it's dissipating, and seems like the world is almost turning into a tornado. And then suddenly, it just went back down into a cloud of smoke. As he gets closer and closer, he feels somewhat tired, but with his practice with Nezu, he's able to hold his breath for 20 minutes. So he holds his breath and went straight in. And he sees how the pattern was inside the mist of the pink smoke, he noticed that he should go to the middle. As he went to the middle, he sees a scene that Kendo and Tetsu defeated the villain. As Zuko finally landed and sees what's going on, Tetsu tried to throw a mask over to Zuko, which Zuko grabbed and put it back onto himself, to Tetsu. And with a very... I'm not sure if I can do it. I can hold my breath for 20 minutes. Can you please explain? Okay, that was so hard not to breathe at all. You guys try it. You'll see why. And Zuko closed his mouth and wait for them to answer. After initially realizing what he said, they explained and their original plan. Their plan was to move their hands out. Kendo to enlarge her hands and swipe off all this smoke to the sky, which Zuko says again, bad idea. Instead, go around and helping who else is here. If you do that, it'll spread further into the forest. Which Kendo and Tetsu finally realized how bad their idea was and followed that plan. Zuko grabbed onto the other kid and said, I'm taking him. As he took a breathe out and breathe in, he said, I'm at my limit. And he flies away, making a huge eye of the storm right in the center, just enough for Zuko to breathe in fresh air. And he flew out, swinging out this kid and letting him go. He's still in the air, mind you. And he flew him close as possible over to Aizawa without killing the kid. Aizawa sees a huge being coming towards him, and he realized he needs to catch this kid. As he catches it, he sees that this person is not one of their own, must be one of the villains. So he wrapped him up in his tape, his scarf, and put him on the side. Zuko is now going over to another area. He sees... Who else does he see? He sees another person flying. And Zuko does not like this at all, since he should be the only one able to fly. So he decides to slow down to see what's going on. And when he looks slows down and sees the guy looking away over to a certain area, he realizes the Bakugo, Todoroki, Oraka, Tsuyu is in a group. And they're all yelling out, where is Momo? Where is Momo? And the guy that Zuko was watching just kept flying away. He announced himself towards the group of showing his tricks and flying away, which all of them are pissed that they lost Momo, and also saying, Bakugo saying, now Zuko's gonna be real pissed. And they will be right, since Zuko is immediately flying towards that man. Oraka and everybody else devise a plan for throwing Tsuyu over there to actually catch the guy. But when they were about to throw Tsuyu yells out, then there's Zuko. And Zuko is flying straight at him. He's retracted his wings, for he's now free falling, but he has a direct path towards the sky. I forgot his name, sorry. This guy does not realize until he felt a force, a huge push on his back, crashing him down onto the floor and him spitting out 2 marbles. And these marbles, Zuko grabbed with his tail and move out of the way to crush them. And only a branch and a huge shirt. Let's go with that. A shirt came out. Zuko sees this, looks over to the guy, and he just says, "A good magician always have backups." A trick up his sleeve, you can say. As he, breaks one of them and shows that Momo's out. As Momo was kind of frantic and, scared, she sees over to Zuko, and Zuko is very furious. And he is marching, running, flying as fast as he can towards Momo. Sadly, they're way too far away, where Dobby is holding on to her neck with some flames coming off of his arm, saying, "Too slow," as they disappear into the portal. And Zuko going straight through, but the portal is gone, and Zuko crashed into a tree. After realizing that he did not get Momo, he yells in a battle cry, in primal, such deafening scream and yells that he gone blind for a bit, of pure rage. And one person said that there's still nomus around. Zuko directed his anger towards all the nomus and decided to attack each and every one of them. But sadly, one escaped because he did not have enough tails to destroy them all. All of them had a tail straight through their brain, having all of them killed. Zuko, after his breather and actually taking a break, some kid came by to him, and the kid tells him that it was all his fault. He couldn't protect her, even though my quirk wasn't that useful, and Zuko just let him speak. He's thinking on the way how to save her, and then the kid finally said, "But her Miss Yala Rosu gave me this and told me to give it to you." As Zuko looks up to this kid that looks ordinary, nothing special about him at all, and sees a receiver, Zuko grabs onto it and thinks, "I'll get you back." Moving on, after the whole scene, policeman's ambulance, I guess that's not the right word, comes by, clear all the area. Everybody's going over to the hospital, as well as Zuko, since Zuko have done the most damage. But he also has some special permission of becoming the special guard for UA. After Zuko tells the policeman and Nezu that Momo left this receiver for a way to find them, find her and anybody else, especially the League of Villains, which Nezu appreciates and tells Zuko to go back to the hospital and get it checked up. I assume that you've gone through many stages. Zuko nods and went over. Over at the hospital, everybody that's healed up have left and came back to visit others. And no one is over to Zuko's room because, Zuko is very particular about who's visiting him right now. The doctor asked him for just checking on his blood type and everything he needs to do, and Zuko just asked him to pass a bag of just 1 pint of blood. The doctor asked him which type, for we can have a proper transfusion, and Zuko said no, just give me a pack of blood, any kind, it doesn't matter. And they're going back and forth about this, and Zuko finally tells him that he got a special permission from Recovery Girl that he needs this very thing, which they don't believe, of course. And Zuko gives them her phone number. They ask her directly after the shock of a very famous doctor and learning that Zuko is a special case and do whatever he says. So they, of course, listen. The doctor, the nurse come by, passing their room, which some of them just notice. Kirishima and Denki sees a nurse coming by and going by with a pack of blood. As she was running, she was attractive, so they were just watching her the whole time as she turned the corner, but actually turned into a room. As the doctor said, thank you, nurse. Hopefully this young man likes this one. As they closed the door. Sadly, they got curious, and seeing their friend being okay and talking with most of the group, went over to that room. And Zuko was given the blood, and the doctor finally left. As he left, the two kids come by looking at the plat and shows that it's for Zuko, which they didn't know he was here. They thought he was fully healed. And when they look over through the window, they see Zuko just ripping up the blood and starting to drink it. And of course, since he's in the whole outfit of a gown from the hospital, he has his back towards the door and shows some of the scars that was still there for the other day. Even though he ate Muscular's fingers, it didn't really fix anything since it wasn't his own blood or any food that was actually he needs. And they were just, at first disgusted, but started to say, okay, that's cool. And sees all the scars just repairing themselves and healing, which sadly the door was open, unlocked, and they pushed through. Zuko turned around with some blood still on his lips and asked and telling them, why are you guys here? And they, tried to get up and apologize as they tried to leave, and Zuko whipped out his tail and slammed the door, making sure they do not leave. He made sure that all the lights are off, and Zuko's light is the only one on. He made sure everything was good, and then asked them, okay, what did you see? As they say, we didn't see anything. We did not see anything at all. And Denki, of course being him, said, we did not see you drink that blood and get healed by all of it. We did not see it. And Zuko said, oh. He sits back down on his bed. Okay. I'll tell you, I know you guys. Even though you don't know me, I know that one of you will tell others. And they said, no, we won't. We promise. Both of them said at the same time. And Zuko said no. Denki, you will tell Jiro, and she will tell others. And Kirishima, he will tell Mina, as she will tell the others. Unless you have a huge reason not to. As he drinks up the rest of the blood and finally finish it. As he put it down on the table, he walks over to them, and they're just kind of scared because they know how strong he really is. Zuko just whisper down to their ears to make sure no one hears, and says, "My quirk is very unique. Can you please?" And they are shocked. He never said please to anything. This is the first time he actually is shown weakness, and that scares them even more. Can you please not tell anybody until I'm ready? Which they both kind of nods in a very silent tone way and said, yeah, of course, man. We will never speak this to anybody. No word, nothing. And Zuko said, I hope I can trust you guys. Because if you don't, well then, you know who my father is. Which they said, of course. And they, opened the door kind of shakingly and ran out. Zuko said, he went back on the bed and started to think on how to save her. Few days pass, and most of the whole class is actually all good, but one student is still injured very gravely. I will say Sero. Since he used up too much of his tape, he is actually in a recovery for a bit longer. And since everybody else wants to show their support, decide to go over to Sero's room almost every day to check on him and talk. And this also gives them the chance to speak out their minds on how terrified they were at that night. And Zuko finally comes in. Well, of course, and getting hellos and greetings by everybody, he looks over to Zero and asks him if he's okay. Zero said, of course, I'm fine. I just used up too much of my tape. Zuko said, oh, that's good. I have a question for all of you guys. And they said, yeah, sure, anything, dude. Anything. Zuko asked him, can you please not call me for the next week? I have some plans to do. Which they said, yeah, sure, we can, but why? And Zuko said, he kind of give them a small smile and said, just some family members. Alright. They said, yeah, of course. And Zuko said, yeah, get well soon, Zero. And then he was about to leave and turn around and said, oh yeah, one more thing. I almost forgot to say. Nezu said that everybody here will have a full month, 2 weeks off from school, and then we'll resume into classes. You'll get a special letter in your home address with some new rules. Please read over them and please consider doing the same and accepting the rules. With that said, he leaves. he goes over to Nezu after using his quirk to fly over to UA and asking Nezu with a very he knocks the door. He said Nezu comes in, sees Zuko, and with a very serious voice. Look, actually. And he looks at him. Nezu said, so what do you need? And Zuko say, Sir, Principal Nezu. Which Nezu immediately understood. This is very serious. And Zuko asked him, can I be part of the rescue? And Nezu thinks about this and asks him, what will you do when you see her, if you see her, in a body bag? Zuko kind of ticks by that. Said, he is breathing like this. And he says, I'll make sure everybody's safe, out of harm, and take out the villain that did that to her. And Nezu said, okay, I'll pull some strings. Just, if you do this again, I had to revoke your license. You understand this, right? Zuko said, yes. I understand, sir. As he walks out. Nezu gets some calls, connections, pulling some strings, everything he can do for his son. And Nezu also says, to sweeten the deal, he will revoke his license to retake the test for this one more chance. Which the officer had to agree since this is a huge deal. Since the last time he did it in secret, this time he's going to do it in public to show how strong UA really is. So they took the deal. Now, the day of the rescue. Zuko's in position as well as All Might. And they were about to attack. They did the knocking. And at that point, I move over to the next scene of the whole group. Everybody is still in the hospital room and they're talking about that they can't just stand there and do nothing for Momo. Especially Zuko. They can't believe that Zuko's not there to do anything for him. Especially for Momo. I thought they were like a couple or something. And then one of them said, yeah, but he's, not that. He's like, they look over to Todoroki and said, he's almost like you. No offense. And Todoroki said, none taken? I can see what you mean acting like me, but he has more emotions than you think. So what are you... Someone else said, so what do we do now? And 4 people, well, 2 at first, says, how about we go rescue Momo? Zuko said he got a receiver and they'll probably they were thinking of stealing that and going over and saving her. Which 2 more other people agreed and wanted to do the same thing. Until the TV was on this whole time. It was mostly muted, but someone wanted to watch some shows. I say Manila. He was changing some channels until he sees a scene. which they all are in shock. And that, my friends, is where I'm gonna end it. Now, thank you for listening. Have a nice day. Now, about the beginning of the video of me on the day that took the story off, and because I had to do something, I own rabbits, just two, a male and a female. I named them I named them Oak. Well, I used to have an Oak. I named one of them because he was all black. It's a he. I checked. Tar for black tar. And the other one is a lion head, and I named her Tiffany. It just came to me. And the reason I'm saying this is because, well, that very day I actually got a text message saying that they had babies, which I'm so excited because I was hoping for them to, well, have babies. But when I got it there, both of the babies died. So it took me a day to, well, take that in. And it really hurt. It really did. But I, of course, had to bury them and had to put them on name, but the day they die. Man, I really was excited for them too. But anyway, I kind of own a farm, so I had to get used to all of this. Sort of, or own a farm. But anyway, thank you for listening. Have a nice day, and that's a small snippet of my life. Alright then, bye.